Wholesale horror story part 2. The bipolar seller who freaked out. I'm Dustin Hahn, and in this video I'm going to tell you about my second wholesale deal, which was another wholesale horror story for me. Back in the day, almost 19 years ago, I'll share my experience and the lesson I learned maybe help you in the future if you have a wholesale horror story. So if you like this content, go ahead, subscribe. We try to do videos to help you learn how to buy property for 40 to 90% below market value. So in wholesale horror story part 1, talked about how I had the alcoholic guy in the house, his dog got sprayed by a skunk, I used the wrong contracts. It was a rough situation, but we made 10,000 bucks. On my second deal, this was a more expensive house. It was worth around 180 grand. And what ended up happening is the lady was in pre-foreclosure. I go, I take a look at the house, we get it under contract for 140,000 bucks. From there, we needed to get some papers notarized at the bank. So at this point, I make an appointment at the bank. I go with her in the bank and we have the contracts. We have the wholesale contracts here, same one. If you need a wholesale contract, you can get this for free below the video. If you like our videos, you can always subscribe. Anyways, we're in the bank, we have the contracts. And we're sitting down, never forget, we're sitting down at the desk and this lady is being explained like, okay, this is what you're signing and this and that. Out of nowhere, she flips out and she literally throws the papers off the desks, or off the desk, starts screaming and yelling and runs out of the bank, literally yelling and screaming, like throwing a huge temper tantrum, like the deal's off. She's saying that she's going to sue me and all this sort of stuff. And this is my second deal. I have no idea what's going on. I'm completely freaking out. I think I'm going to jail. I have no idea, right? And from there, she leaves and I go and I apologize to the guy in the bank and I'm like anxiety level 10. Then an hour later, she calls me and she says, hey, I apologize. I'm really sorry. I'm bipolar and I freak out sometimes, like completely different person. And at this age, I'm 20. I didn't even know what bipolar was. And she explained it to me. And then we met back at the bank another hour later, completely different person, signed the papers, and away we go. So that was a traumatizing event on my second deal. Now, on the fence on the property, they had one of those like metal fences, and they had these like lats that go to make the fence solid. And when they moved out, they pulled them all out and took them with them. So we had to do a little concession, but from there it went pretty good. I wholesaled it. I made 20,000 bucks. This is my second deal, and that was more money than I'd ever made in my life. And right after that, I moved from the frigid minus 40 cold of the north, and I moved to California. We did a road trip, and it was a good time. We did a road trip across the US and then made my way to California. I was listening to the Beach Boys as a kid and knew I just wanted to live in the sun. Wholesaling is what allowed me to do that. You would think I would double down and do a lot more deals after that. However, I had 20,000 bucks. I was 20 years old, so I did the right thing and I partied my butt off. It was a good time. So anyways, I have more stories coming up about how we did this stuff and how you can do deals and get started as well. There's a lot of strange folks out there that you'll come across while you're doing your wholesales. Because remember, we're dealing with people generally in a stressful situation. The last thing these folks want to worry about is getting their property in good condition to list it with a realtor. And that's why we service that corner of the market for people who can't really list their properties. So I'll be sharing some stories, maybe some lessons. The lesson here is, I didn't know somebody could behave like that and come back right after. So if somebody freaks out on you, maybe they're just bipolar, call them back later. So if you want some quick tips on how to get started, we got an on-demand training called How to Buy Property for 40 to 90% below market value. We give you the contract created by our attorney to get started and a rehab estimator, help you crunch the cost of rehabs, and a wholesale calculator to help calculate the cost. So anyways, click the link below if you want to check it out. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.